The ANC wants to extend the schooling period to 14 years instead of 12. President Jacob Zuma said during the launch of the party's manifesto over the weekend that there were plans to add another year to the curriculum. This is in addition to grade R, which is already being phased in. Yesterday, the Basic Education Department could not comment on this plan. I'm joined now by education analyst Professor Graham Block to talk a little bit more about this. Graham, thank you for joining us this morning. An unreasonable call by the ANC?
Well, I think first we asked for debate, and the President is weighing in on education, so let's be positive about it.
All right. What would be some of the benefits if this were to happen? From what I understand, like we say, grade R is already being phased in as compulsory. We're looking at another year before. We're not looking at the end, sort of extending matric or anything like that. What would be some of the benefits if that were to happen?
Well, I think we need to talk about early childhood development, ECD, and whether it should happen in the community or in school. And I think it's probably best in the community, quite honestly.
Why would you say that? Why would it not be best at school? I mean, we're looking at a lot of tragedies we've seen over the past year or past 2 years where children, parents can't afford to send them into some sort of a daycare. Would a school not solve some of those problems even?
Well, we need to look at grade R and the extension of grade R and how that's going, and that needs to be completed. And also, we don't want to put kids in huge classes. So as long as they've got place to play and teachers understand what they're doing.
Okay, so from what I understand from what you're saying is that they don't need to be formally taught at that age. We want them to stay children for a little bit longer.
I think ECD says play a lot and learn through play.
Okay, and then if this were to happen, do you think that we would be able to pull this off? I mean, we're looking at just, we could barely deliver textbooks about 2 years ago. So would we be able to handle now more kids coming into the system and being formally taught? Are we equipped for that?
Well, the unions like it, so the teachers feel that they are going to be ready, and good luck to them. I think we're going to struggle a bit.
In terms of?
Well, in terms of numbers, in terms of getting kids into school, in terms of going to school. So in terms of compulsory issues, I think it's going to be a difficult one.
Now, teacher unions have welcomed this, but they say certain guarantees must be provided. What would sort of some of the safety nets that would have to be put in place, what would they be?
Well, I think the biggest guarantee is teacher training. Teachers need to know what they're doing. And so whether it's in the community or whether it's at school, make sure that you've got people who are trained. And at the moment, there's a bit of a gap between social development and basic education. And I think we need to close that gap.
What does that gap entail? What are some of the issues there?
It means that basic education probably doesn't know what's going on at the ECD level. And it knows grade R, but beyond that or before that, it struggles a bit.
So long term, when we look at in terms of the entire schooling period and what these children might come out with at the end of matric, would there not be any benefit to them in terms of just how they develop, how they start to learn, how they learn to like learning? Because a lot of us don't like learning. I didn't, certainly at school. In terms and getting into the workforce, would we not see some kind of change or benefit long term?
There could be, and we are emphasizing ECD. I think that's absolutely right. But I mean, let's see what happens and let's have the debate. That's important.
Okay, well, it's not cast in stone yet. So the Education Department itself needing to know more details about it. Thank you very much for your input there, education analyst Professor Graham Block.
Know more about your world. eNCA.com